there, listeners. It's your annoyingly optimistic host here, bringing you another season of the Annoyingly Optimistic Show. Welcome to Season 2, Voicemails to Tim. Now, let's meet Tim. He's been running his own small business for almost 3 years now, and let's just say he's hit a bit of a rough patch. You know how it is. Sometimes you get so stuck, you make yourself busy and just avoid finding the real problems. Well, that's Tim. So as a good friend, I decided to leave him a daily voicemail, if I can't get hold of him, filled with nuggets of inspiration, insight and wisdom, and downright brilliant ideas to help get him unstuck. Every day, in just under 10 minutes, I'll share some tips, tricks, and a healthy dose of optimism to get Tim, and maybe even you, back on track. Because let's face it, we're all a little tired, in need of help, and muddling through. So here we go. Oh wait, never mind. Tim's being busy. Here's the voicemail I left him today.
Hi Tim, missed you again. How you doing? Okay, mate. Glad you liked the message, and we will talk again about routines in that worksheet I talked about. Maybe I'll catch up with you next week. I think we're meant to be getting together. So yeah, I wanted to throw something at you today, and you're kind of at the whim of the ideas that come to my head, so apologies for that. But it was something that I guess this is going, where I've been talking about hate lists and getting lists and stuff like that, very practical stuff. This one's a bit more kind of hopefully spark a bit of an idea. It's something that I've kind of come to subscribe to, but and I think it might help you, but it's a bit of a weird one. It's this idea of tell the universe what you want is the best way that I can kind of describe it. Probably borrowed that from someone, but I can't remember who. But it's this idea of really deciding what you want and making sure you not quite become accountable, but you basically just make that real rather than just an idea in your head. Talk about it to other people. Let's talk about some of the things that might fit in this next time we catch up. Write it down, but really you've just got to kind of trust in the fact that, and again, this sounds a little bit woo-woo, for want of a better way of describing it, but, and I'll give you some context of this, is, I've talked about that course that I started, God, where are we now? End of 2022 into 2023. So kind of like the first half of last year. Amazing course, and I got a lot out of it. Not the things I went for going for the course. And what I did from that is there were some people on that course that recommended a couple of books and speakers, which I looked up, stuck them in my Amazon basket. And that started this progression of over the last 18 months of really setting my goals on what I really kind of wanted to achieve. Obviously, I'm working on a couple of books at the moment and various other things. And by just continually talking about that to people, focusing my energy on, does this get me closer to those things I want to achieve, and telling the universe what I wanted. Not in broad kind of, I want an extra $5 or I want a donut or anything like that, but I want to be able to get the message out, get the help that I want to, in the books, for instance. So it's that thing of not, I want to sell this many copies or this much money or whatever. It's more of I just want to create this amazing thing that other people find really useful. And what that has led is that while reading various books, listening to podcasts, listening to audio books, I would seem to find people start talking about different kind of themes, different authors, different books, and I would then jump from that onto that, and I would follow that, and it's taken me on this seemingly at the time meandering path of authors and knowledge and experience and things that I found out about that there was no way whatsoever I could have sat back and picked that was a route of things that I would find useful. But when I look back now, every single one of those was the thing that I really needed at that point, which led on to the next thing and the next thing. And the position that's kind of put me in, the things that I've learned and things that I've done since then has been phenomenal. And I trace it all back to this idea of just having not just that focus about what you want, but you've got to verbalize it. You've got to actually kind of, and then if that means, I can sit here in my cabin and no one can hear and shout exactly what I want. And I won't feel too stupid, quite stupid. But then I record podcasts, so I sit here talking to myself anyway. So, but you've got to do it from your point of view, Tim, in terms of what is it you really, really want. And again, it's more Spice Girls lyrics there I nearly went into. What did you really, really want? But you've got to start shouting about that. You've got to make it real. You've got to say, the only way I can describe it is let the universe know what it is you want. And it's not just going to knock on your door and something's going to happen, but the more you really focus on what you really want, and I think this is where we get into the conscious and the subconscious, you will start influencing yourself and making decisions, and decisions that you're aware of and not aware of, that slowly, step by step, open up the opportunities in that direction and take you into the direction of where you want to go, just purely by starting on that process. Now, you can't just sit there constantly every day and just shout what you want and expect it to happen, but it's that continual kind of thing, that continual affirmation, and I mentioned that the other day, of reminding yourself what it is that you want, what you're trying to achieve. And by just kind of verbalizing this, talking about it, making decisions that take you towards that, you start to gain momentum. And you have to be able to, and this is one of the things that I know comes under my brand of annoyingly optimistic. I'm very, very fluid and flexible, where I have some directions I want to go in, but if the path meanders, I'll just follow that meander. And I think that gives me a bit of an advantage, and it's something that I think most people can benefit from. And I know you're pretty much like me, Tim, in that respect, in terms of you will kind of go with the flow a little bit. But I think if you're very, very rigid and you just say, I want this, and you're just blinkered than that, then you will miss all the opportunities along the side, all the little things that pop up along the way that otherwise would have been ignored because they're not directly what you want. But actually, if you step back and look at it and think about it, it's kind of like, oh yeah, I can see how that would take me in the same direction. And I think direction of travel is the key thing. There's a great quote, which again, as always, I'm about to butcher, which is this idea of things in motion continue in motion, and things at a standstill typically stay in standstill. It's like a law of the universe. Someone incredibly intelligent obviously came up with it and realized it. But it's this idea, if you tell the universe what you want, if you start making those conscious and unconscious decisions moving you towards that goal and making decisions influenced by that goal, and you let that take you and trust that you are moving in the right direction and keep moving, then that momentum will going, and even if you meander off a bit, you'll come back, but you're still moving forward. If you just kind of sit there waiting for that ideal one thing and you focus too small, you'll sit not moving, and you're more likely to stay not moving. Whereas if you keep in motion, and that's certainly with me with the books and the audio books, is I'm always reading, I'm always listening. When one finishes, I start on the next one. Just this week, there was two that I thought, these are the ones that I want. I've started both of them, didn't quite gel, so I went on to the third one and ploughed through that. I will invariably come back to them. But it's keep moving, it's keep heading in the right direction. And again, I think it comes back to, and again, it sounds a little bit weird maybe, but telling the universe what you want. And I think what you're actually doing is you're telling yourself what you want, and by setting out that, you are more likely to achieve it because you can start to feel it, you can start to make those, as I said, those conscious and importantly those unconscious decisions in that direction. So but I hope that kind of helped. It wasn't directly anything that you said last time we spoke, but it just kind of came to mind, is this idea that when we get wrapped up, when we get tired, when we get stressed, when we get kind of overwhelmed, we become very insular, we become very closed in and very focused on literally that next step, that 3-foot world. What do I need to do to get this email out of my inbox or keep that customer happy? And sometimes we have to take that breath, we have to step back, and we have to basically work out what it is we really want, tell the universe what you want, and then get back to that email and that customer. But don't lose sight of that, because once you lose sight of that, you're onto that hamster wheel, and you're going to go nowhere at an incredible speed. So I hope that helps, Tim. Hopefully catch up soon, and maybe we'll catch up about that worksheet when we speak soon. So until next time, I'll speak to you soon.
And that's it for today's episode of Voicemails to Tim on the Annoyingly Optimistic Show. Now remember, Tim might be busy, but we're all in this together. Whether you're tired, in need of help, or just muddling through, Tim is here for you because, well, Tim is you. Yes, you heard that right. Tim isn't just my friend, he's a reflection of all of us who are struggling to make it work. TIM stands for tired, in need of help, and muddling through. So if you're feeling like a Tim, you're not alone. For all those ambitious listeners, if you've got a burning business question, a quirky thought, or just want to see if you can leave an even weirder voicemail, head over to the website voicemailstotim.com, submit your question, and maybe, just maybe, you'll hear your idea in a future voicemail to Tim. So until then, stay annoyingly optimistic, keep pushing forward, and remember, if life gives you lemons, leave a voicemail about it.